Hello, welcome to the Great Pyramids of Giza discussion. I'm Miss Morin, and I'm here with
Mrs. Wyatt.
And let's go ahead and begin with your art history ID. And we'll talk about the artists that built this. So when we what we're looking at here was something that was designed and built by skilled craftsmen, right? And these craftsmen and builders with 2,000 conscripted peasants. So it was compulsory. It was believed that it was compulsory to participate in building these beautiful structures. So let's talk about the historical kingdom, period. You want to go ahead and do that, Mrs. White?
Sure, it's going to be ancient Mediterranean. We'll be on ancient Mediterranean until we get all the way through Rome. You do need to know that it is Egypt, but we're not going to be doing a lot of dividing up. Under materials and techniques, it is made out of Tura, T-U-R-A, is that spelled right? Mm-hmm. Limestone. We were both surprised to hear that it has some plaster that is in between. We always thought that the stones were just stacked. That most of them did have a polished granite covering, which has been removed. They're a lot closer to Cairo than what you think they are. And so people would just cross the river and go and take whatever they wanted off of the pyramids and use it to build houses and things like that. And they put a stop to it, but it wasn't fast enough to stop a lot of pillaging. Mm-hmm. One of the things I tell my students is that you don't really understand how many stones there are in this. The bottom of the largest one covers 14 acres. And so it's been said that there's enough stone in here to make a 6-foot wall all the way around Spain.
That's so crazy.
A lot of materials.
That is a lot. And a lot of manpower to put it together, for sure. So let's go ahead and talk about the intended purpose now. This is a tomb, and it's a tomb that was meant for pharaohs. We weren't just burying anybody in these spots. The idea of this shape was so that it was almost like a staircase that was meant to help the pharaoh kind of mount the sky in quotations there. So it was literally built so that they could walk up to the heavens and on it.
And you've got to remember that pharaoh is God on earth. And then when he dies, he's God in the skies. Mm-hmm. So a lot of whether or not you're going to do well and prosper is going to depend on that pharaoh being happy in his afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And speaking of pharaohs, the patron or audience, do you want to go ahead and share that as well?
We've got 3 pharaohs. We have Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, and all 3 are buried, and it is a grandfather, father, and son. The largest one, Khufu, is the grandfather. And then Khafre is the son, and then Menkaure is his son. And it's kind of interesting because when you look at them from a distance, Khafre did some things that made his pyramid look almost as big as his father's. He put it up on a hill, and he did some other things that were just kind of shifty. That it's smaller when you look for it here, but it's not as small when you look for it in real life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can actually see that there were other things around the pyramids as well. One of the iconic images that we see is the Great Sphinx in front of the pyramid. That's one of those things that, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, they do the same thing with one of their hotels. And then you can see, too, that there are cemeteries here on either side of the Khufu pyramid. And then if you look here, you see these boat pits? They actually would bring pretty much everything they needed with them to the afterlife. And then you were talking about, Mrs. White, about how they had statues inside of the pyramids.
Well, it's not in the pyramids, it's in the temples. So
Yes.
each one of these pyramids has a causeway, and it will connect up. This is where the funeral would have a procession that comes up when they're going to bury the pharaoh. And then each one has his own temple, and inside of that temple is a statue. And that statue has to be fed and taken care of to keep that pharaoh happy in his afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if you look here, you can actually see what we were talking about before. Cairo is right over here.
Yes.
And
Right across the river.
yes, they were pretty close to the pyramids, which kind of gave it that, an unfortunate
Yes.
problem of things being taken. But they still stand today, and thousands of years later, we can still go see them in Egypt and be awestruck by them. So there you have it. You go ahead and make sure you fill out your art history ID, and thank you for watching.